Good morning. It's Whitney King here at Fit with Wit, and today I want to talk about a service that a lot of people don't often consider, and that is long-term care. So I have a little bit of information I'm going to share with you, so bear with me if it looks like I'm looking away and reading a little bit. So one of the first ones are some facts. When I start talking to people about various insurances, a lot of people think they have a lot of time. Oh, that's not important right now. That can wait. I'm not old enough. Things like that. And something that I think we can all agree on is that people try to start planning when it's too late. You do not wait until an incident occurs to start planning. You plan for it so that when the incident occurs, they get prepared. So, when it comes to long-term care, one thing a lot of people like to say is that their children will take care of them. Well, we know that's no longer a fact. In the past, it was very common for a family to take care of family. But now, if, say, for example, if your mother reached a point of needing long-term care, would you be able to stop working and care for her without everything else still, running afloat for your own household? I don't think you could. I don't think a lot of people could, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, you got to make sure you plan in the event that that happens. And not even financially, you just don't have time because a lot of you have your own families or your own jobs and hobbies and things like that. Long-term care can come in and support with that. Another thing a lot of people often consider is that Medicaid will pay for long-term expenses. So Medicare becomes your primary health insurance after you turn 65. And it's still basic. You still have to pay for a lot of those additional services if you want with Medicare. And Medicare is not designed to cover long-term expenses, long-term care expenses, excuse me. So what long-term care is basically if you cannot meet the activities of daily living. So there's a checklist of things that people should be able to do on their own that's considered activities of daily living. And we can talk about those in more details if you want to have a conversation. And if you cannot, then that makes you eligible for long-term care. Okay, but you want to make sure you have something in place to care for that. Medicaid is basically the government welfare program that pays for your medical and long-term care expenses only after you deplete your assets to basically nothing. So that goes back to mindset. If you are already planning on Medicaid being the, picking up the bill for your long-term care expenses, really, how selfish is that for your family and everyone around you? Because that's still a process. They don't just automatically pick it up. Someone still has to go do the paperwork and all of that good stuff. And if you're in a position where you can't do it for yourself, that means someone else is going to have to stop their life to get this stuff set up for you. Whereas you could just begin planning to make sure your things are set up for you on your behalf. Another one, a lot of people say, I'm too young to buy long-term care insurance. And that's because they think that only impacts old people. And that's wrong. That's a total myth. Long-term care can occur, for anyone. There's actually some numbers here that I'm looking at that says 40% of the people who need long-term care are of working age and between the ages of 18 and 64. Okay, and that happens. It can occur because of an injury at work, a stroke, heart attack, anything that could cause you to need long-term care. A lot of people will say, I'll use my own assets and self-insure. I have enough money. I don't need that. Well, the truth is, unless you have a nice pot of gold that's valued at about $5 million, you should probably think twice about self-insuring. You never know what things can happen. Insurance is really just a responsible thing to do. It's not a bill. It's an investment in your life. Because you could say, oh, well, I'm starting this business and I project that in 10 years, I won't have to worry about things like that. Well, heaven forbid you get injured in year 5, there goes your plan and you don't have any insurance. So that's something to think about. People also think it's too expensive to buy. That's not true. Actually, it's to your benefit to get in while you're younger. Your youth is on your side. The more you age, the higher the cost can be. So I'm very adamant about teaching younger people how this stuff works so they don't have to feel like, oh, I'm 45. You know, you wake up one day 45 and got to figure out insurance, but you've never learned anything about it. So that's my info for today. I just want people to start exploring long-term care, which can, be an add-on to any insurance policy that you receive, and really start getting serious about this stuff. Planning, failing to plan is planning to fail. That's one of my favorite quotes that I'm sure you all are familiar with as well. I would love to be assistance to you, to walk you through this process, and either myself or get you connected with someone that can get you set up on this stuff. So my information is at my link in the bio. You can visit the website. You can email me. You can call me. I'm on vacation, but I'm still working. I've already taken some calls. So I definitely look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you have a wonderful Friday.